Hello and welcome to Verbling. Hi there, I'm teacher Oakley, and in today's class we are going to review phrasal verbs with two particles, which we had looked at earlier this week at this particular time slot. Big time review. We're going to be looking at a lot of phrasal verbs with two particles and basically straight up defining them. It's a review class, so lots of vocabulary coming at you. Absolutely. I would like to welcome a couple of students to the class. Hello, is it Alexandria? Hi. Or I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I'm sorry, young lady with a Russian name. What is your name?
Anastasia.
Anastasia. Okay,
Yes.
I was close. Starts with an A. All right. Sorry about that. Hi, Anastasia.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great. Welcome to the class. Nice to have you here. I also want to welcome Carlos. Good evening, Carlos.
Hi, good evening. How are you doing?
Doing okay. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah. Good to see you too. And welcome, Heidi.
Hello, nice to see you again.
As always, nice to see you. Okay. What we have, I'm going to share screen share exercises with you. We're going to do fill in the blank. It's very straightforward today. We're reviewing phrasal verbs with two particles that we looked at earlier this week. Phrasal verbs, of course, for those who maybe weren't in class earlier this week, a phrasal verb is a verb. The more simple and common the verb is, the more phrasal verb variations there are. So we have a verb and then a preposition. Prepositions like up, down, in, out, for, to, with, in conjunction. Stick them together and you have a phrasal verb. The preposition is no longer a preposition at this point. It is called a particle. So when I say our class will be looking at phrasal verbs with two particles, that's the verb, and one preposition, now a particle, and a second preposition, now a particle. Okay, there are an enormous number of phrasal verbs. Not so many phrasal verbs with two particles. In fact, we can get through it today. We're pretty much looking at a big chunk of them today. And so, anyhow, let's get started. Do my screen share now. Just give me a sec. This is going to be challenging because we have we're doing a fill in the blank, and there's just a lot of choices here in bold. Lots of choices. Now, if you have no idea, I'll try to give you a clue, and you know, the class can help you out as well. Okay, so we're basically just straight up defining them today. We'll talk a little bit about practical use as we go along, so you know how to use it in a conversation. But all right, let's get started. Anastasia.
Yes.
Go ahead and read this part, the definition. Try as best as you can to fill in the blanks with one of these phrasal verbs. I will help you out.
Okay, I think if you feel up to people, you have a good relationship with them.
Nope. No. If you feel up to something, then you feel generally healthy enough, mentally or physically, to be able to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It has to do with your health feelings. All right.
Maybe if you feel people in on.
Well, not feel. I'll give you a clue. The phrasal verb, the actual main verb part is get.
Mm.
If you're friendly with people,
Mm-hmm.
you like them, they like you, then you, well, and you get on with them. Okay. Now, here I have to point out, very important, American English and British English. Most phrasal verbs are exactly the same. Sometimes there are variations. Usually, those variations have to do with the particle. The ending may be different in British or American usage. Very occasionally, seldom, but very occasionally, the verb is actually different. In this case, get on with, Americans would say get along with. I'll write it in the VerbLink chat box. And it can be used negatively or positively. I don't get along with him. He's such a jerk. I just can't get along with him. Okay. Brits tend to say get on with. And again, same thing, same meaning, exactly. You're friendly with them, you have good relationship. That's it. Carlos, how about number 2 here?
Yes. If you don't carry on with something, you don't feel well enough to do it.
That almost makes sense. And it would make sense in a certain context. To carry on with something is to continue something. Maybe, okay, maybe you don't feel well enough to continue doing something you've already started. It's possible. But I think the phrasal verb we're looking for here, the idea is that we don't feel well enough to even start it.
We don't feel...
Ah, well, there's a clue for you. I pretty much just gave it to you, Carlos. Using the key verb, feel.
Feel up to?
Yeah, okay. You don't feel up to it. I just don't feel up to it today. Are you going to come to the jazzercise class? Dance around and exercise? Ah, I've got a really bad head cold. I just don't feel up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. That's how it's used. Usually because of actual sickness or physical things, but sometimes maybe emotional. My boyfriend left me last night. I just don't feel up to shopping today. Okay. Anyway, can go like that too.
I remember this phrasal verb now. When somebody asks you, are you gonna to the work? And if you are still sick, you could say, I don't feel up to
Precisely. That is exactly correct. Okay, very good. Anastasia, let's try number 3. Notice that you have 2 blanks. Aha! We are separating the phrasal verb.
If you... one moment.
Here's your big clue. Someone.
If you feel someone in on.
That's it.
In on.
That's it. You got it.
Get round to. I'm not sure.
No, you had it right the first time. If you fill someone in on something, you tell them details of it. Now, here I have to point out phrasal verbs. I have to point out a couple things. Phrasal verbs in general are considered more informal. They are conversational English. Much more formal writing or a very formal speaking, a speech, for example, you would tend to use one-word verbs that have a similar meaning, synonymous meaning. However, we use phrasal verbs a lot. Native speakers do in conversational speech. One reason is because we can do this. We can divide them up. So this makes it very easy. I can say, turn on the lights or turn the lights on. Makes no difference in meaning. Means exactly the same thing. Turn on. I can separate the verb and particle or not separate them. It's very versatile because I can easily match it to my intonation and rhythm. So because native speakers know the meanings, which you guys are learning today, we don't have to think about it. It's very easy for us to use phrasal verbs because they're super, super user-friendly. They're really, really easy to use if you know the meanings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Phrasal verbs, there are two kinds of phrasal verbs, all right? Inseparable and separable. The root word here being separate. You gotta keep them separated. Okay. Now the thing is, most phrasal verbs, and that this goes for two-word phrasal verbs or three-word or two-particle phrasal verbs. Either one. Yeah, Carlos, good job. You caught me. Yes, I'm an Offspring fan. You got me. Okay. In any case, some phrasal verbs can be separated, like turn on the lights, turn the lights on. Some cannot, like eat out. We're going to eat out tonight. You cannot say we're going to eat dinner out tonight. You can't do it. The verb does not take an object. It's intransitive. There's no way that you can separate it because there's no way you can add a noun to it. It doesn't act on any nouns. So, some phrasal verbs are separable, some are inseparable. If it's inseparable, then you just can't ever separate it. If it's separable, that usually means you can separate it or not. For example, if okay, sometimes you can separate it or not, like turn on the lights. A few cases, and this is one, fills someone in on. There's a reason our example up top here has someone. There are a few cases, this actually doesn't happen very often, so it's a good example. There are a few cases where you have to separate it. Okay, is there any way to say if you fill in on someone, someone fill in on, the sentence won't make sense. You absolutely have to put the subject noun in the middle. You have no choice. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so it's a little bit unique. This doesn't happen very often, guys. It's not very common. Most phrasal verbs, it's like turn on the lights. You can do either. You can go either way. Okay.
Without the on, fill in is also a phrasal verb. Is correct?
Without second particle, fill in.
For example, you are filling the blank.
Fill in the blank. You're absolutely correct. And that's another very good point. Many of these three-word phrasal verbs, most of them, actually, can be used as a two-word phrasal verb without the second particle. You're absolutely correct. You fill in for somebody at work, you substitute for them. You fill in the blank, you write in a space, like the spaces we see in the exercise. That's right. Somebody can fill in if they're really thin. She's very, very skinny. She was sick for 3 months, but she filled in after she got healthy. That means she put back her weight. She put her weight back on. Several meanings, actually, Carlos, now that you mention it. Yeah. And obviously, another physical meaning. You fill in a hole. I dug a hole in the dirt, and then I filled it back in. Or I filled it in. Okay, very physical. So you're right. A lot of these phrasal verbs we're looking at, if you get rid of the last particle, it still is a phrasal verb and maybe with more meanings. The good thing about the phrasal verbs with 2 particles, they generally have one specific meaning. In fact, I can't think of any that have more than one meaning. There may be. I'm not saying there isn't. There's always some weird exception in English, you know. But in any case, most of these have one meaning, so you don't have to remember, you know, 4 or 5 different meanings. Okay. Anyway, let's continue. Carlos, number 4.
Yes. If you again carry on with what you are doing, you continue doing.
And you are correct, as we actually already discussed. So that's right, to continue doing something. Carry on. And frankly, you will hear in English, and it's kind of little strange, you will hear people just say carry on, meaning continue, as just an answer, just that, like an expletive. Okay, carry on. Particularly in the military, it's actually military jargon in English. American military. Carry on, men. Okay.
I heard this phrasal verb, for example, when your girlfriend left you, your friend told you, "Come on, man, carry on."
Okay, you got to carry on. You got to continue, right? You're terribly, terribly heartbroken. Sure, it could be used that way. It can be used. It's very versatile. Any kind of activity you want to continue could be used for anything. Anything really.
It could be used to cheer someone up.
Cheer someone up? Sure. I mean, just the same way you can use the verb continue. You've got to continue living your life. I mean, you know, any way that you could use the verb continue could be used for anything. It could be used to criticize. Why do you carry on gambling every night? What is wrong with you? Get a grip on your life. It could be used for anything, Carlos.
Oh.
I'm going to carry on buying Apple stock until I see the stock price go down. Anything at all. As long as you're going to continue doing it. Okay, Anastasia, number 5.
If you...
Sorry.
One moment. If you...
Okay, the key is going to be future tense.
Future tense.
This is all about the future.
I don't know. Look forward.
You liar. Told me you don't know. You do know. Yes, of course, you're correct. Look forward to. You're absolutely right. All right. If you look forward to doing something, you anticipate. You're happy about it. You're excited. I look forward to going to Disneyland. Yay! Okay. I look forward to retirement. How about you, Anastasia? I look forward to doing nothing. I look forward to sleeping. What do you look forward to, Anastasia?
Excuse me?
What do you look forward to in life? In your life?
In my life.
Share with us. What do you look forward to?
I look forward to go to Spain.
Okay. All right. So you could use present continuous tense, and we often do. I am looking forward to
Ah.
going to Spain. That would be very common to use this phrasal verb with the present continuous, because right now, I am thinking about something in the future. So that would be very common. All right. Well, have fun in Spain.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, absolutely. Carlos, about number 6 here.
If you someone on the telephone.
Okay. Connect with someone on the telephone.
Go down with someone.
No, I don't think so.
I'm guessing right now because none of these phrasal verbs have sense to me.
The phrasal verbs are like that. They're idiomatic, metaphorical, they're abstract. So they're a pain in the neck. You have to kind of learn them one at a time because they're not the dictionary meaning. Sometimes they are. Frequently, they have a concrete physical movement meaning. But of course, even if they do, they generally also have a different abstract meaning. So anyway, okay, so we connect on the phone. Maybe, okay, for example, Carlos, I'm trying to call you and I can't connect. Maybe I'm using Skype. We're going to talk on Skype and stupid Skype call isn't going through. Finally, and we can talk. No idea?
I get off too.
Yeah, okay. Anastasia, do you have a guess?
I guess I get through too.
Get through to, and it's a very good guess. If you get through to somebody on the phone, now this is actually important, you have to reference the phone in this case, because it specifically means connecting on the phone, or Skype. I finally got through to him on Skype, whatever means of communication you're using. Because there's another meaning. Okay, I said there. All right. See, I'm making a liar of myself. Earlier, I said very few of these are going to have two meanings. Well, this one does. If you get through to someone, a second meaning is they understand you. Very, very common. I can't get through to my teenage son. He doesn't want to go to college, and I can't get it through to him how important education is for future success. I can't make him understand. Very common for parents to say to their teenagers, am I getting through to you? Or complaining about their teenagers with their friends. I just can't get through to little Johnny. So I can't make him understand. Okay, so there you go. There's two particles, at least two meanings there. All right, moving on. Anastasia, number 7.
If you 1 minute, if you
people criticize you. Oh, wow, it's hard.
If you
That's a really hard one. Yeah.
Is it meaning getting?
No.
No,
it's not. Yeah, there's no way you could guess this one, honestly. No idea?
No idea.
Carlos? What? Anastasia?
Maybe cut back on.
No, that's not it.
Sorry.
The meaning is you you deserve criticism.
Mm,
I don't like this definition. The understanding is that if you something criticism, that means you deserve it. You've put yourself in a position where, frankly, you deserve it. You're vulnerable to criticism, and you probably deserve it. Okay, well, here it is. If you come in for criticism.
a common. Mhm.
Okay, well, obviously politicians do this all the time. They say stupid things, and then, okay, his stupid quote, okay, we can refer to the criticism. This is how it works. President Obama today came in for criticism regarding his policy towards Iran, or like that. So we kind of refer to it in the third person. It's a little bit weird how we use it. I think if you make the announcement, everyone must work 8 hours of overtime every week, you're going to come in for criticism. Think so. Okay, you're going to make yourself vulnerable to criticism, even deserving of criticism. Okay, Carlos, number 8.
You
You remember something.
Mhm.
Carlos, huge clue. Remember earlier we had a phrasal verb where we're thinking about the future. In this one, we're thinking about the past. Basically opposites.
Look back.
look back.
There you
Look
go.
back.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. You look forward, metaphorically, you're thinking about the future. Look back, you're thinking about the past. Carlos, what do you look back on? What is something in your life you look back on and smile?
I don't know.
Oh, come on. Maybe the first time you ever saw your wife. Ah, memories from the corner of Carlos's mind. Sorry, Carlos. I'm sorry you had to hear that.
No. Maybe if the last night I were drinking and I do some stupidity. I look back and laugh a lot.
Okay. I were drinking should be I was drinking, of course. And you look back on it and laugh. Okay. Well, that's okay. You know what? It fits. Good job. Anastasia, number 9.
You do them for them because we are not self. If you if you one moment, if you fool around with someone, no?
That's
I don't know.
amazingly funny, and you don't know why. So I need to explain. I hope there are no children watching. Okay, you fool around. Generally, there's 2 meanings. Okay, one meaning, the more rated G meaning, you fool around. You kids, stop fooling around near the pool. You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna fall in. You're gonna hit your head. Stop fooling around. You're playing. Nonsense. Okay, or really, there's 3 meanings. If you're fooling around at work, if you're an adult, it means you're not really getting any work done. You're goofing off. You're wasting time. And there's a good one too, goofing off. But the third meaning, which made me laugh, if you fool around with somebody, okay, the husband is fooling around on his wife. He's fooling around with his secretary. You get me? You know what they're doing? Okay? They're making the wild and crazy you're fooling around with. It's a euphemism for physical activity of an intimate nature. So I thought it was very funny if you're fooling around with someone, you do their job for them. You didn't even realize you're telling a very funny joke. Oh, okay. Nope, that's not it. I was thinking of another one. But anyway, okay, you are substituting for somebody. Basically, the idea is you're substituting.
Take over from.
No, that would be okay. Close, but take over for would be correct.
Take over to take control.
I can take over for you, Carlos. If you're doing a job and you need to go to the bathroom, I can take over for you for 5 minutes. I do your job substituting, but the idea being I'm going to replace you right now. Okay. So, no, if I'm going to substitute for you, I will stand in for you.
Stand in for.
There's actually, I can take over for you. I can stand in for you. I can fill in for you. All of those. They're all with for, by the way, you notice. Okay. Another thing to note. Okay. Some phrasal verbs, not all that many, relatively speaking, but some of them stand in. Okay, I can use this one as a two-word phrasal verb as well. I only use for because I want to express who I'm standing in for. It has to be a person, by the way. It can't be a thing. You can't say, oh, we don't have any Coca-Cola, so we're going to have Pepsi stand in for the Coca-Cola. That's stupid. That doesn't make sense. It has to be people. But one thing I want to point out is stand in has a noun form. It can be a noun. A stand-in, is for example, in a film, somebody's going to stand in for Vin Diesel in this shot. Some bald dude with tattoos is going to basically, his back is turned or he's in the distance. We're not going to get Vin Diesel out of his cushy little trailer drinking champagne and eating caviar. So we're going to have some bonehead who looks like Vin Diesel in the movie shot to replace him, okay, to stand in for him. That guy's called a stand-in. It's a job. Some people do that, you know. They look like a movie star, so they get paid for just basically standing around looking like a movie star. Crazy, right? But crazy but true. That person is called a stand-in. Okay. Hello, Julio.
Hey, teacher.
Hey, what's up? How are you?
Not much. I'm doing fine, thanks.
Cool. Cool. Okay, we're doing very, very basic, straight up looking at definitions and then matching phrasal verb with two particles. Very simple, actually. So I'll give you the next one here. Where are we? Number 10. Okay, Julio. Firms which what? Production produce less. Do you know?
Wait a moment, teacher. What are we talking about?
What are you talking about? Space aliens and the very, very significantly important role of space alien capture of spider monkeys in the Congo. No, that's not what we're talking about. I'm lying. Okay. We're looking at phrasal verbs up here. Here they are.
All right.
with two particles. We're just doing a simple fill-in-the-blank exercise. The fill-in-the-blanks are straight-up definitions. So, what do you think? Firms which something production produce less. So, the verb
Firms
is to describe the action of doing less.
doing less. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good tip. Um, that will be cut back on.
That would be cut back on. You're absolutely right. Okay, often used for business. We need to cut back on production, but you could cut back on smoking, for example. You don't. It means you're not going to quit smoking. You're going to smoke less. All right. I want to cut back on fatty foods like bacon and cheeseburgers. So I'm not going to stop, but I will eat less of them. So,
Is
okay,
it a synonym of cut down on?
yeah, it sure is. It's very close in meaning, actually. Actually, it's really the same meaning. If you're cut down on, we use for personal things. Cut down on smoking. You could say cut back on smoking, whatever. For like the factory, we're going to cut back on production of the SE74 model. Okay, you probably would use cut back on, not cut down on production when you're talking about more general, not personal, but talking about something more general or just more. You would tend to use cut back on more often. Actually, you wouldn't say cut down on. It's possible. I mean, everybody would know what you mean, but it's just not likely co-located. Okay, moving on. Anastasia, number 11.
If you break in on a conversation, you interrupt it.
Yes, very good. Excellent. Break in on, or actually maybe more common, at least for Americans. Not sure what those Brits are doing, but if you butt in on a conversation, if you butt in, you interrupt somebody. Butt in is okay, a little more aggressive. Stop butting in. What are you butting in for? I wouldn't, if I'm angry, I would definitely say butt in on, not break in. Why are you breaking in on our conversation? No, I'm angry. Why are you butting in? It's none of your business. Get your nose out of my business. Okay. But you're absolutely correct. Interrupting. Okay, let's say there's a basketball game and you run onto the court. Now, in that case, you would be breaking up the basketball game. But you could probably say, okay, you broke in on the basketball game to announce there was a tornado headed toward the building. Okay, sure. Oh, we break in on our regular scheduled program for this important announcement. Okay, in television, when they have emergency announcements and such, they will break in on the program. Okay, Carlos, number 12.
If you finally get around doing something, you do it after a long delay.
Yeah, perfect. Get around to, don't forget the last particle there. Okay, and I said it a million times, but I'll say it again. Round here, the word round is very British. Americans always say around. Americans don't really have this word round as a particle or preposition. we have around. Get around to it. Okay, this one is really, really common, guys. Really super common. I use this every day. I mean, many people use this every day. It's really normal. When are you going to fix my wife? Because my wife, you know, she's a nag. When are you going to fix the bathroom door? I tell her when I get around to it, all right? Relax. I'll do it when I get around to it. Meaning, I'll do it when I get time, maybe when I get time, or maybe when I just feel like it. If you're gonna do it when you get around to it, you'll do it either when you have time or when you want to do it. Often used in that way, in like an argument. I'll get maybe as a statement. One of these days, I'm gonna try skydiving. Sooner or later, I'll get around to it. All right. So no definitive plan when you'll do it, but the idea being you'll do it in the future, whenever. Okay, Julio, back to you. Lucky number 13.
All right. Okay, if you something that mm, 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 if you fool around with,
Yeah, okay. Very good. Something dangerous, or Julio, somebody dangerous. Okay. You handle it in a careless and irresponsible way. Yeah, okay. There you go. All right. If you shouldn't fool around with children, should not fool around with matches. Absolutely. Okay, and we discussed this one earlier. Fool around with can have a couple different meanings. You fool around with something, like matches. You play with them. And in an irresponsible way. I gave the example earlier of you kids shouldn't fool around near the pool. You'll fall in the pool and drown. You'll hit your head. You'll put your eye out. Yeah. Stop
pluck
fooling
your eye
around.
out.
Yeah. Stop fooling around with that bow and arrow. You'll put your eye out. Okay. Or, of course, fool around with can mean to have intimate physical relationships with somebody, with someone. So be careful. If you use this phrasal verb in reference to someone, you're talking about sex. Just so you know, okay.
But one question,
Sure.
when we use fool around in that sense, it's talking about like only it's like a non-serious kind of sex. At least that when I hear that, like,
Good question.
we're just fooling around. So I understand that they are like having
That
some
is
kind
very,
of physical
yeah.
contact, but not taking it seriously.
Well, in that case, we're just fooling around. Yeah, well, that's very interesting because basically, when you say that, your example is terrific. When you say that, yeah, it has double meanings. It's actually you're using the word very. You have a nice little double entendre there because you mean both things. You're having sex and it's meaningless. It's irresponsible, careless. Double meaning, actually. So that's an interesting example. I could mean it to just. I heard he's fooling around on his wife, fooling around on, and then the third person in the triangle, he's fooling around on his wife. You know, you use it because this physical relationship is in some way irresponsible. So yeah, you do have a point. You don't, if it's your girlfriend, well, you don't fool around with your girlfriend. I mean, that's stupid. She's your girlfriend. You're supposed to do that. It's natural. It's normal. Um, you're doing it because you already have a relationship. So yes, there is the element of irresponsible or careless relationship, physical relationship. Yes, you are right. And it could be either the fact that it's irresponsible, you're cheating on your wife, or the fact that it's careless, we don't care, it's just friends with benefits, as we say. Please don't ask me to explain that more. Okay, I'm digging myself a hole here. Anastasia, let's move on, please.
When
Okay.
you have a job and come forward with somebody that person did the job before you. Come
No. Come forward with would mean that you're doing something together. Well, in a physical meaning, maybe. You come forward with something, you volunteer something, usually information. So that's not it. Okay, now earlier we talked about stand in for, fill in for. Remember the other one I gave you guys? I said stand in for, fill in for, or
go down with.
no. I said earlier take over for. The answer here is take over from. You take responsibility. You know, for whatever. I can take over from you standing in line. Oh, you're standing in line to get tickets? You want to go get water? I'll take over for you. I'll take over from you. From, for, depends on the sentence structure, really. Okay, when there's a coup in a government, the rebel leader takes over from the president who's been assassinated, whatever. Okay, he takes over from the president. There you go. You would have to use that. You wouldn't say the rebel took over for the president. That's voluntary. Let me take over for you. That's voluntary. Take over from has a little bit of a connotation of no choice. So the rebel leader took over from the now dead president. There's no choice there. Okay, so slightly different use, but extremely similar. Same really meaning. Okay, pretty much. Next one, Carlos.
If you come forward with some information, you give that information to someone, for example, the police.
Yeah. In this particular phrasal verb I just discussed, it is really, I would say 90% of the time we use it, it's in conjunction with the police, the authorities, whatever. You come forward with information, you come forward with evidence, something like that. Yeah.
What's the difference between come up with and come forward with?
Okay. What's his name there? Snowden. You know Snowden, Carlos?
Yeah, the WikiLeaks.
Yeah, there you go. All right, he came forward with a lot of information. Okay, he volunteered a lot of that secret information. It fits perfectly for that verb. Come up with. Now, he came forward with it. It was real. If you come up with something, you make it up out of your mind. So if you come up with an idea, you come forward with information that already exists. All right, Snowden brought information to the public which already existed. Okay, You come up with something, it never existed before that. So, okay, Apple has come up with a great idea for a new application. They just thought of it. They imagined it. Okay, like that. We need to come up with a plan. We need to think of it, imagine it, create it. Come forward with something. You're not creating it. It already exists. You're just making it public. Okay, Carlos, you understand my pathetic explanation?
Yes,
I hope. Okay.
understand.
All right, next one. Last one here. Julio, number 16.
If you come down with an illness, you catch
Yeah,
it.
that's right. Come down with something. Now, okay, you come down with a cold. You come down with a flu. Okay, you can't. You can't come down with diabetes or come down with cancer. We would never say that. It has to be something that you catch from another person. There you go. Something transferable. You can come down with the measles. You can come down with the chicken pox. You can come down with any. You can conjunctivitis. Anything you catch from another person. It has to
Wait,
be
wait.
not.
I,
Yeah.
I have another idea.
Yeah.
What I understand with come down with, besides that you get it from another person, is that it's temporary and not really serious. But you wouldn't say
Mm.
I came down with Ebola, right?
No, you're right. You're right. That's a very good point. You could, but it does sound a little bit weird. I mean, yeah, I think you definitely have a solid point there. You're right. Yeah, that would sound weird. Came down with Ebola. Oh my God. I mean, of course, anybody would understand what you meant, and technically speaking, it's correct. But you're right. Usually, it's something less serious that you get over quickly. Good point. All right. Only got a few minutes. We'll never get through this, but just to make things much more difficult, Anastasia, another list. 16 new ones. Okay, number 1.
Get on with.
Didn't we just do that before? Well, maybe. If you get on with somebody, you have a good relationship, so you probably do respect them. But I get on with is not in this list. Not a wrong answer. It's just not here.
Mm,
This is a new one. I changed the page. I changed the.
ah, sorry.
We've got a new list. Looks a lot like the old list.
Huh.
Okay, sorry. If you
Uh, it,
if you look up to someone,
hurrah, hurrah! Very nice, excellent. You look up to someone. There's a sort of a connotation in English. There's a lot of idioms that you put someone on a pedestal. A pedestal is like a base you put a statue or a sculpture on. You put someone on a pedestal. You have to actually bend your head and look up toward the sky. There's a lot of metaphorical symbolism about somebody you look up to, you respect. Up, they're above you. Okay, so that whole sort of symbolism thing. You put someone on a pedestal. You put somebody. He's in an ivory tower. Okay, they're up there. They're above you. They're okay. Okay, look up to, respect, admire. I'll say right now, the exact opposite is look down on. For example, up to, down on. Look down on somebody, you don't respect them. It's basically the opposite. You think they are less than you are. Okay. Carlos, number 2.
When you go in for a competition, you enter it.
Yeah, yep. You go in for a competition. I might personally, I would never. I just don't use this phrasal verb. I would say maybe join up with. Well, join in on. Sorry, not join up with. That means to meet someone. Sorry, wrong one. I might say join in on. You're gonna join in on a competition. But sure, you go in for. Now, go in for. We can also use to talk about what we like. Positive, usually negatively. He doesn't go in for contact sports. That's possible. Positive is okay. I really go in for usually talking about activities. Okay. I really go in for baseball, whatever, something like that. Not to be confused with, but easily confused with, go in on something. If you go in on something, you go in on a deal. You can all go in on a pizza. Oh, there's 4 of us. Let's get a pizza. We get 2 slices each. Let's go in on it. Okay, everybody give me $4. Like that. Okay, so join. Go in for. Okay, it's a little British are much more likely to use this. Okay, Julio, number 3.
If you grow out of patience, you have no patience left. No. Sorry, run out of. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, very, very close. Okay. So, but totally different meanings. Okay, run out of. Yeah, you're right. Now you can run out of abstract things like patience. You can run out of time. You can run out of concrete things. I ran out of milk this morning. Poured myself a bowl of cereal, and damned if there wasn't any milk. We ran out. So I had to run out to the store to get some milk. Okay. Another phrasal verb. You run out to the store, you go somewhere very quickly. It doesn't mean I physically actually ran. I wasn't sweating and pumping my arms. I walked in a normal human fashion. But it's very common to say run out to. I need to run out to the store and get something. Okay, run out of. You don't have any more. And it can be really absolutely anything. Run out of money, run out of anything. Okay, number 4, Anastasia.
People who
There's a typo here, Anastasia. Warning, warning. It should say you consider your inferior, not you consider you inferior.
You consider your inferior.
Your, yeah, and a typo, mistake here. And Anastasia, consider.
Consider, okay, yeah. Consider. People who I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay, I said it earlier. You admire someone, you respect them, you look up to them. If you think they're inferior, they're below you, you look down on them. Okay, inferior. Superior, you look up to superior, you look down on inferior. Okay, Carlos, probably one more, and then I think we're out of time. Number 5. Carlos, what do you think?
If you go along with a decision.
Yeah. All right. You go along with something. Okay, it's a little subtle, but there's a little there's a little bit of a connotation that you don't really want to do it. If you go along with somebody, you go along with someone, you go along with an idea, you go along with a suggestion, or you go along with Peter. There's a kind of a connotation that you don't really, you accept it, but you're not really in favor of it. You're compromising, in other words. If you go along with something, oh, I went along with it just so I wouldn't have to hear him, complain about it later, like that. You go along with something you're not really enthusiastic about. Okay, guys, we are out of time, so I got to go. I would like to thank you.
Oh, yes.
You have to go. I have to go. We're out of time. Bye, Anastasia. Very nice to meet you. Come back and see me again. Julio, always a pleasure. Carlos,
Thank you.
good to see you.
Yeah.
All right.